Welcome into Steelers Talk. I'm your host, Jack Sperry. Today, we're going to be talking about QB rumors for 2025. There's a lot of different names being thrown around out there as potential options for the Pittsburgh Steelers to potentially replace Russell Wilson as this team's starting quarterback next season. So we're going to be breaking down all the latest right here on Steelers Talk today. But before we get into the content, make sure you guys click that subscribe button, because if they make a change at quarterback, if they make a big trade for somebody this offseason, we're going to have you covered right here on Steelers Talk with breaking news coverage, and we're also going to have extensive rumors coverage surrounding the free agency, trades, and the draft, all the way up to those big respective dates. So make sure you guys click that subscribe button for extensive live coverage of every big move the Steelers make during the 2025 offseason. So let's start here with Kyler Murray, okay? Because Bovada Sportsbook currently gives the Pittsburgh Steelers the best odds of landing Kyler Murray via trade in 2025 if the Cardinals trade him. Okay, so you take a look at Kyler Murray here, and he's 27 years old, so he's still relatively young here. He's 5'10", 207 pounds. At least that's what they list him at, but he is absolutely tiny. He's got 3 years left on his current contract, so if you trade for him, he's yours for a while. He's also a two-time Pro Bowler and former NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year. Take a look here at his recent career stats over the last 4 years. This year, it's been pretty decent, I would guess, or I would say. But over the last several games, the second half of the season, it's been tough for Kyler Murray. He's got 5 touchdowns and 8 interceptions in his last 6 games. It hasn't been good stuff from Kyler Murray. Only 17 passing touchdowns this year to 11 interceptions. And he hasn't put up real elite production, I would say, since 2021. With Cliff Kingsbury there, when they had that really red hot start to that season there with in the desert. So listen, man, I don't think Arizona's going to move off of him, because it's like, if they trade him, who are they going to replace him with? I think we're going to talk about Sam Darnold a little bit later, but I don't think he's a possibility for him. Kyler is still very, very talented, and the team still owes him a lot of money. So I do think that the Cardinals will probably end up bringing him back. And even if he was made available, I'm not sure if he is a culture fit for Mike Tomlin and the Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, this guy, he's known for playing Call of Duty, being kind of more of a me guy than a we guy. That doesn't scream, blue chip, Pittsburgh Steeler type of quarterback to me. Plus, he's a bit smaller, and, he's going to have to play in frigid conditions. I don't know if I trust Kyler Murray playing in the frigid, wet conditions that AFC North ball has to deal with. So I'm not sure if I love the fit with Kyler Murray with the black and gold, if I'm being completely honest with you. And the same thing goes for Aaron Rodgers. I know that Mike Florio threw the idea out there that Aaron Rodgers should be the next kind of, 1-year project, the rehabilitation project, just like for Russell Wilson was for the Steelers this year. But listen, man, Ryan Clark, if you know anything about Ryan Clark and Aaron Rodgers, these brothers do not like each other. And if you know anything about Mike Tomlin, is that he's very close with Ryan Clark. And Clark is definitely going to be in his ear saying, do not bring this guy into your locker room. So I find it extremely unlikely that Rodgers and Tomlin would be a good fit together. And I just don't see Aaron Rodgers coming to the black and gold next season. But what are the chances that the Steelers could land Sam Darnold this offseason? It's definitely an interesting idea. Sam has had a really good season there with the Minnesota Vikings this year. But here's the thing, guys. You're probably not going to get him in free agency. I know he's slated to be a free agent, but I think that if you're going to get Darnold, I think that at the very least, if the Vikings look to let him go, they're going to tag him and then trade him. So you're probably going to have to trade draft capital to the Minnesota Vikings if you want Sam Darnold to be this team's quarterback in 2025. Also, the Vikings would probably want a first-rounder. Right now, Sam Darnold is playing some really, really good football right now for that football team, and for them to move off of him and go to J.J. McCarthy, they're going to feel like they're going to have to get a first-round draft pick. So you take a look here at Darnold's profile. Like Kyler Murray, he's 27 years old. I know it's crazy. He came out a couple drafts before Kyler did, and he's the same freaking age. He's 6'3", 225 pounds, so he's thick. He's got that nice trunk, as Colin Cowherd likes to point out. Then we've got, he did have that career resurgence this year in Minnesota, and it's still going. He's had a really, really good stretch down the season. He's playing some really inspired football right now. And, his body type, his arm talent, all that great stuff, he can really thrive in a play-action-heavy offense in the AFC North. That's what the Steelers want to run. That's what Darnold can potentially do here in Pittsburgh. You take a look at his numbers this year, very good numbers across the board. 35 freaking touchdowns, man. He has been absolutely dealing in the red zone. It helps to have guys like Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison, TJ Hawkinson, and have Kevin O'Connell call your plays. But Darnold's been playing some real good football, man, and he's going to be worth a large contract this offseason. But here's the thing. I think the Vikings are going to stick with Darnold. I think he's played too well this year where you can't just move off of him and say, hey, J.J. McCarthy, I know this guy led us to a 14 or 15-win season the season prior, maybe got a number 1 seed. Be as good or better than that guy in your first season after taking a year off. I just think it's a lot of pressure to put on J.J. McCarthy, so I think the Vikings have to bring back Sam Darnold, and I don't think he's a realistic opportunity for the Pittsburgh Steelers. But now that I've just revealed what I think the Vikings are going to do, I think they're going to keep Sam Darnold. Could they trade J.J. McCarthy to the Pittsburgh Steelers? Is that an opportunity for Mike Tomlin and Omar Khan to kind of investigate this offseason? Well, let's talk about that. J.J. McCarthy's still super young, guys, 21 years old, 6'3", 219 pounds, so he's got the size that you look for. He was selected in the top 10 of last year's NFL draft. Of course, the Vikings traded up to go get him. And then, he played in a play-action-heavy offense there in Michigan when he won that national championship, and he's used to playing in the cold. There at Michigan Stadium, Ohio State, all these different teams that he had to play late in the year, he's used to playing in the cold, so he could play in the AFC North as well. But I think that the case is that Pittsburgh's pick in the first round might not be high enough for the Minnesota Vikings to acquire J.J. McCarthy. I think there's going to be a number of teams that can't get Shadur Sanders and can't get Cam Ward in the NFL draft this year that are going to be willing to give up their first-round pick to acquire J.J. McCarthy that are ahead of Pittsburgh in the draft order. So to get him, you're going to have to give up your first and another pick to get him in your building, and I just don't know if Omar Khan's going to be willing to do that. Also, my 2 concerns for J.J. McCarthy. Number 1, taking a year off of football is extremely tough, especially when you're developing. Just ask Aaron Rodgers. Just ask Deshaun Watson. Okay, these guys took years off of football, and they came back, and they were absolutely abysmal. Okay, and J.J. McCarthy still has a long ways to go before he can be a legit starting quarterback in the National Football League, in my opinion. And then number 2, I don't really love the upside for him. All right, I compared him. My comp for him coming out was I thought he was a smaller Daniel Jones. All right, and if that sounds uninspiring, it's because it is. I think he struggles with accuracy outside the numbers and deep. I think his post-snap processing wasn't developed enough at Michigan. There's things to like about J.J. McCarthy, but there was also things to like about Daniel Jones. That's why Jones went as early as he did. But with McCarthy, I'm not the biggest believer in the world. So personally, I hope the Steelers don't sell the farm to make him the new franchise quarterback. Now, before I go here, I do have one more name to throw into the mix. Now, this one's a dark horse, and I don't think it's necessarily something that I think is likely to happen. But before I reveal who that is, let's have a word from our sponsor here at Fanatics, where you guys can get this brand new, really awesome, man, throwback Steelers t-shirt in your closet today. Go to chatsports.com/throwback. It's a nice classic black design with that Steelers helmet, the old school Steelers logo, or helmet logo there in the middle. If you like kind of that minimal look, you don't want any crazy designs on your t-shirt, but you still want to rep the black and gold, this is an awesome t-shirt to get it done with. Go to chatsports.com/throwback to get this t-shirt in your closet today. So the dark horse name to watch is Matthew Stafford, all right? And, this is the one guy that I think is a culture fit, that I think is an upgrade over Russell Wilson, and somebody that's relatively affordable for the Pittsburgh Steelers if the Rams make him available. And that's going to be the big question, guys. Take a look at Matthew Stafford's profile here. He's 36 years old, so he is getting up there, and that age has certainly showed a little bit this year, even down the stretch here for the Los Angeles Rams. He's still got good size, though, great arm talent. And he does have 2 years left on his current contract, so if he gets traded, you get him for 2 years. And, he has had elbow issues in the past, so there is a little bit of a risk there, but he has been very clear, or he has been clean so far this year. He's played in every game so far for the Pittsburgh Steelers, or for the Los Angeles Rams. And, ever since Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua have come back from their injuries, he's played some pretty darn good football. Obviously, he won a Super Bowl with the Los Angeles Rams, so he's had that experience. He's got a lot of experience playing in the playoffs as well. That's something the Steelers would certainly like as well. So that's certainly something to keep in mind if you are the Pittsburgh Steelers and you think that Matthew Stafford can be your guy, because plain simply, guys, the Steelers are looking for somebody with playoff experience. They're trying to win Super Bowls now. So a guy like J.J. McCarthy, never been to the postseason, I don't think the Steelers are very looking much into those younger guys. I think they want somebody with a little bit of experience, somebody that's been there and done that to help them win a Super Bowl with this current group of Steelers players. Now, how this becomes possible, okay, because I know you're sitting at home right now saying, Jack, why would the Rams trade Matthew Stafford? Well, I mean, they might be trying to look to upgrade here. We talked about Sam Darnold being a potential option for the Steelers. What if the Rams end up tagging and trading for Sam Darnold this offseason, and the Vikings want to go with J.J. McCarthy? I think Sam Darnold is somebody that could be seen as a younger and kind of, more long-term option than Matthew Stafford there in L.A. And the fact is, the Rams are still an up-and-coming team that needs a little bit of rebuilding. They need to rebuild the offense a little bit. Their defense is still rebuilding. And, they may feel like Sam Darnold is their guy of the future. So you take a look at Stafford's numbers here over the last several seasons. And this year, a little bit of a dip in terms of the yards per game production. Touchdowns are still pretty decent. And, the interceptions definitely weren't as high as when he won the freaking Super Bowl in 2021. He led the league in interceptions back then in 2021. Still won the whole damn thing, but he put up 41 touchdowns. So I guess that definitely makes up for it. But the reason why I would potentially like this, if the Rams go out and get Darnold and then they shop Matthew Stafford, is that the Steelers want to stay with this playoff experience veteran route. They want somebody that's been there and done that. They want somebody that's clutch in the fourth quarter. They want somebody that has been there and won a Super Bowl. And, Russell Wilson certainly fits that bill too, but Matthew Stafford is somebody that I think can make more big splash plays. I think he's more consistent than Russell Wilson is, and might be even a little bit cheaper in terms of the cap hit than what Russell Wilson would cost this offseason. So if the Steelers can pull it off, I would definitely bring Matthew Stafford to the Steel City. But the reality is, guys, Russ will likely be back as this team's QB1, at least in my opinion. The team likes him. Mike Tomlin likes him and his mentality. He loves his leadership qualities. And, they're not asking the world of him. All right? They're not asking him to be an MVP of the league. They're asking him to be somebody that can convert on third and long from time to time. He's done that. He's second in EPA in those situations this year. Throw the deep ball off of play action, and they're trying to build that run game. So they're really hoping that they can develop that, and they think Russ, with that run game, with a great defense, can really deliver for this team in the postseason and potentially even win a Super Bowl for this team. And he really does fit what this team wants in their starting quarterback. Plus, he's not going to be super expensive. Andrew Filipponi reported today that Russ reportedly wants $30 million per season. And honestly, that's a very reasonable price for Russell Wilson, in my opinion. Now, some people might cringe at that, but just so you guys know, that's not even cracking the top 10 in quarterbacks' annual average salary there. So I think that that's more than fair for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I think that's probably the deal that at the end of the day is going to get done. So let me know down there in the comments section, what's the percent chance that Russell Wilson is back as this team's QB1 next year? Put it on a scale of 0 to 100 for me down there in the comments section. 0 meaning no chance Russ is back, to 100 meaning he's definitely back. Let me know your thoughts down there in the comments section. Thank you guys so much for stopping by today to listen to some QB rumors surrounding the Pittsburgh Steelers. Make sure you guys click that subscribe button, because once the season is over, we got a bunch of these rumors coming out every single day, talking about wide receivers, quarterbacks, the whole 9 yards. We're going to cover it all right here on Steelers Talks. Make sure you click that subscribe button to never miss a video.